Okay, now let's turn our attention to our region of the country. Over the past week or so, reporters from our newsrooms in Halifax, Moncton and St. John have fanned out across the Maritimes to ask residents how they view Remembrance Day. Here's some of their comments.
Remembrance Day is a day to reflect on the sacrifices other people made for us when they didn't really have to. I think that as time goes by, we're a little bit more desensitized to Remembrance Day in that it's one day of the year and everybody makes a push and wears the poppy for a month and just kind of, they remember for that month, and then the rest of the year they kind of go on with their own lives.
I think that it's a day of remembering the freedom of our country paid by the sacrifice of others. I don't think that anyone that lives here or in North America will ever really understand. We don't understand until it's at our front doorstep. And so I think that you just generally become desensitized to death. And I mean, we have soldiers overseas right now, and we don't even really understand what they go through every day. We read about it in the newspapers, but we don't understand. I don't think that there can be anything to do for change. I think that people just generally, they don't think about what they don't want to know. And people don't generally want to know anything about war or what goes on. They just want to know if we're winning or losing. They don't want to know about death or destruction or casualties. So I don't know if there's much that you could do to change it.
I'm from Miramichi, and so there's this little park in Chatham. And just watching the bands come down, and probably the thing that stands out to me the most is when I started to realize that each year there were less and less of these soldiers, these really the truest members of a Team Canada there will ever be, getting slowly taken from us. And thinking to myself, when they're gone, and then their memory fades, will we still understand? Will we be able to grasp the enormity of what they gave us? I think while we have the time, since the veterans are having a harder and harder time to come to us, we need to get our students out to them. Get into veterans wings, get into seniors' homes and talk to these people. Get their stories while they can still be taken. Get children to start writing, stories, poems, thoughts, short stories about what they are learning from these veterans of ours, because really it's going to be through the arts that the memory gets carried on, because our brains will quickly forget. Even our understanding of what remembrance is all about as it relates to the wars that our country has fought, maybe it's fading into the night. It's fading away, and we're losing it. I believe we're losing that part of our heritage, that part of our nation's heart, that we'll probably never be able to grasp again. And honestly, if we do lose it, I hope nothing ever happens in our world that causes us to have to recapture it. But lest we forget, right?
My name's John. I grew up during one of the Great Wars, and I had grandfathers in the First War. My father and my uncle was in the Second War, and it to me is very important because for 5 years of my life I never seen my dad, never really knew my dad because he was away at war, and it was for freedoms of things that we have today.
I think Remembrance Day is something that isn't remembered as much now. Our family, we have 2 young children, and we make it a point to bring them every year to the Remembrance Day celebrations. And I think it's something, there's a lot of controversy now with war, and people are more against it than for it. But the concept I think that people are losing now is we need to remember our veterans, we need to support them, and we need to take care of them because our freedom was bought with a great price from them, and we cannot forget that. And we're not far, a generation or two, from really forgetting our veterans. I don't think people do get Remembrance Day. It is a day off, I think, for a lot of people now. It'd be interesting to see on our celebrations that are at the Coliseum and in Riverview and Dieppe, the difference in the people who are coming is the same people year in and year out. I think it really needs to be, the media needs to promote it more as a celebration and a remembrance.
We'll be back with some final thoughts after the break.